Look at this local brass band practicing here in Uganda. You might hear a group like this at a high school graduation or a church wedding, playing with a complex harmony that sounds quite different from traditional folk music like Bakisimba. Just as Africa spent centuries developing its own unique performance traditions, Europe spent hundreds of years building its own classical systems of music, theater, and dance. Because of our history, these two styles now exist right alongside each other. The European tradition is built on four core pillars. There is Western classical music, opera, ballet, and scripted theater. It is easy to mix up the middle two, but the difference is entirely in how the performers communicate. An opera is a dramatic story where almost every single line of dialogue is sung in a powerful vocal style. Ballet tells a story completely through precise, silent physical dance, without a single spoken word. Mastering how these formal European structures work expands your creative toolkit, giving you the skills to decode and participate in international art styles. This wide shot shows a full Western symphony orchestra. Notice the rigid, highly standardized semicircular layout. Every single player has a specific assigned seat. That seating chart groups instruments into four distinct families. The strings sit in the very front rows. Behind them are the woodwinds and the brass. Finally, placed at the very back so their loud volume doesn't overwhelm the delicate strings, is the percussion family. All these separate sections are unified by the conductor standing at the front center podium. They do not play an instrument. Instead, they guide the ensemble's tempo and expression using silent hand gestures and written sheet music. Think about a traditional Ugandan performance troupe. There, the pacing is usually guided by auditory cues, a lead drummer calling out rhythms that the dancers and other players hear and respond to in real time. African ensembles encourage flexible interaction and listening. The European orchestra operates differently, relying on a strict visual layout, a central silent leader, and precise synchronization to a written page. Looking closely at this player, you'll see her modern flute is made entirely as solid silver metal, yet this instrument belongs to the woodwind family. That classification relies on how the sound wave is generated, not the material of the shell. A woodwind creates sound when the player blows a gentle airstream across an open blowhole or through a thin piece of wood called a reed. Now look at this trumpet player from the brass family. A common mistake is thinking he creates that loud sound simply by blowing heavy air into the metal tube. If you just blow loose air into a trumpet, you only get a quiet hiss. Brass players use intense lip vibration against the mouthpiece, triggering loud acoustic resonance. Why do trumpets drown out flutes? Pause and think. Answer: high-pressure lip buzzing produces high-amplitude waves. Gentle flute airstreams create low-amplitude waves. Fix this by moving flutes forward or playing softer. An instrument's family is determined strictly by the physics of how its sound wave is triggered. This photograph shows a classic European indoor playing space, known as the proscenium stage. Notice the large rectangular frame wrapping around the stage. This arch acts like a literal window. The audience sits quietly in the dark, passively looking through this frame at the action. Compare that indoor barrier to this traditional outdoor circle theater in Uganda. Here, there is no rigid wall between the performers and the viewers. The audience surrounds the action, claps along, and can physically step into the performance space. That structural control on the European stage is also reflected on paper. Instead of fluid, oral storytelling, European drama locks the narrative into a predetermined written script. The playwright divides the stories strictly into acts and scenes, using explicit stage directions to tell actors exactly where to move. While a proscenium stage limits community inclusion, its strict boundaries give directors incredible control over artistic illusion, lighting, and complex narrative pacing. You do not have to choose between a fluid Bakisimba circle and a rigid classical string quartet. An artist who understands both systems becomes a highly versatile communicator. These formal European traditions evolved over four distinct historical eras: the complex Baroque period, the balanced classical period, the emotional Romantic period, and the experimental modern period. For your exams, you can remember those chronological eras with the phrase, "Big cats run mad." And to recall the four seating families of the orchestra, strings, woodwinds, brass, and percussion, just remember, singers will bring peace. Go ahead and take a screenshot of this table to help you study. Learning the precise mechanics of a symphony orchestra or a scripted play gives you a new vocabulary. You can use these clear, technical structures to organize, document, and share your own Ugandan stories with the entire world.